everybody. Recording is in progress of our what is this, sixth member circle? I haven't been counting. Jesse would probably know more than I.
Nine.
Yeah, nine. Oh, nine? Really?
I think
That's crazy.
we started in July. So July, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is our seventh.
Seventh one. Wow. Either number is impressive. I agree. That's good. So
Yeah.
we have somebody coming in called owner. So hopefully
Owner.
they can
Nice.
identify themselves. You know, when you get a new iPhone or whatever, it always says owner.
Yeah.
You let you change your
Oh,
name. Oh, yep, there he is. See ya.
John,
Okay, and
right?
then Susan coming in. Yep, John's coming in. Susan's coming in. And we are recording. Okay, Sarah, would you kindly do us the honor of opening in prayer?
Okay,
Thank you.
let's pray. Dear God, thank you so much for having this Zoom meeting tonight. This subject is especially interesting. Father, I really pray that we all learn at least one or two or three things that we can use in our writing lives.
Mhm.
I pray that all the technology stays firm, and I pray blessings on Jesse presenting, that everything he says is clear and everything just works out well. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. If everybody would go ahead and mute yourselves, we will have you unmute during the presentation when Jesse has a question. So don't forget to unmute if you're going to talk, but mute for now. Okay. So we don't get background noise. Like you can probably hear my dishwasher going. So I'm going to mute myself here. And then we're going to pass it over to Jesse for the teaching this evening.
Awesome. Do we want to do any kind of hot seat ahead of time, or just go jump right into the teaching? What was your thinking, Julie? I think you're muted still.
See, I did my rule. I muted myself and then I
Yeah.
talk. So
Good
let's try that
job.
again. Try again. Practice what you preach, Julie. Okay, so I'm okay with just jumping into the teaching. If
Okay.
everybody wants to hear the topic, great. And then we'll do questions and stuff after the fact.
That
Sound like a
sounds
plan?
great. That sounds
Okay.
like a plan to me. And I will say that I do agree with what Julie was saying about muting, but at the same time, I would love it if you don't be shy as well, as if you want to ask questions. Part of why we created these member circles is to really just have us get to know each other and interact. It's less to me, it's less the teaching that is the focus, but more like us connecting together and us sharing ideas. And yeah, this particular topic that I'm teaching on is, fairly new for me. I would love to write a book about this at some point. But I'd love your interaction all the way through. And so it's something that really the basics of this topic about your author tribe. I'll just kind of share my screen here. Oh, can you go ahead and add me as co-host here there, Julie? Um, Part of this is how we can kind of build our tribe, build our connections, and our people. So if you feel free to interact, ask questions along the way. I really do like this. So this is your author tribe. I've been changing the working title quite a bit, but oh, there's Jim. So this is about the forming and maintaining your 10,000 personal connections without going crazy. And I know that last month, we had Amy, who did a really good job. And so if you're looking at this recording and you are watching this later, you guys can't do this right now, but I would highly suggest going on and watching last month's member circle. Amy did a really good job talking about networking and kind of the ideas and nuts and bolts about how to do some networking. And I want to go, and inspired me. I want to go a little bit deeper. This has been a topic of mine that I've been forming around for a few years now, actually. And I want to focus a lot on the heart of kind of how to, maintain these connections in your author journey, because it's very lonely, can be sometimes, and even the word marketing can feel like it could feel icky about how to market. There's a lot of negatives around having people support you, and so I wanted to kind of demystify that and also tell you that you can have these connections. So this class came out of this quote right here from our good old Jim. He basically said one of my first times in Oregon Christian Writers, now Cascade Christian Writers, he basically told me that you can have a personal connection with 10,000 people. And I just, I found that really interesting because that's a lot of people. You know that Jim is really good at this. He's able to love on people really well. But yeah, he believes that he can have connection with 10,000 people. And at the end of his messages on his newsletter, actually, he says, I read and respond to every message I receive. And so that is part of kind of a little snapshot into part of where I'm going with this. But there is a way to do exactly this. And I think there is tools in order to help us have connections with 10,000 people. So this all kind of stems out of this other quote that I like from Heidi Baker. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she always says to love the one in front of you. And this is really what I think that at a nutshell is what kind of Jim was saying. It's like he does it, and he models this really well. Those who know him, he models this really well, just of connecting with the person in front of him. And us as authors, we're commissioned in some ways to be this salt and light to the world and to connect. So this ultimate goal of this course is to inspire you guys to seek and maintain 10,000 personal connections as an author, and let them. And it's more than that. It's like, how can we help them feel loved, help them feel connected to us? And I fully believe, and I'll get to this later, but I fully believe that if we make it our mission to connect with 10,000 people and over our lifetime as an author, then we will get all that we want kind of out of being an author. It would fulfill our commission. So, but I'm curious right now, as I say this, if you don't know if you want to put in the chat here or whatever, but what are some things that come to mind when I give you this goal and challenge, both positive and negative? And you can feel free to talk out loud too. I'll pull up the chat here. Okay, I don't know if I can find the chat. Here we go. Scary. Yeah, definitely scary. Any other thoughts of like having 10,000 connections? The individual matters? Absolutely. Yeah. It seems impossible and overwhelming. Perfect. Yes, Robin. Yes, it does. Overwhelming. Yeah. To have that many personal connections. Yeah. It'd be overwhelming. Time constraints, that's really good. How to keep them all happy? Yes, these are all really good. I'm not sure what to do with that. Yeah. I'm curious, Jim, you want to clarify a little bit more on that? Like, not sure what to do with that?
What I said, I'm not sure I want to do that.
Oh, you're not sure you wanted that? Okay, perfect. Yes, I read that wrong. Sorry.
That's okay. You want
Jesus.
clarification on that?
No. Well, this is
Yeah,
exactly
okay, that's all right. I didn't think
Don't
so.
worry. Sorry, Jim. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So okay, we're done. Let's not do this. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's exactly a lot of work. Okay, so this is the big elephant in the room. I do believe it's like, yeah, like we think it's impossible with our crazy schedules. Like it's like, so I have two main objections I pulled from this, which is what I wrote down, is that like, is this even possible? And is it worth all the hassle? And so I will go into that. It looks like the first one is, are 10,000 connections worth it? And so let me go to, I say they are worth it for two main reasons, money and mission. So right here, this is kind of where another part of this class came from. This book called Your 1,000 True Fans. And this person, John, and I can put the link. I'm going to put the link in the chat here to his book. I'll just drop it in right now. So he has a theory that is both, challenging and freeing, that he's like, if you can nurture 1,000 people as an author, like as 1,000 people in your life, like total, like that's your goal. As to be a successful author, you just need 1,000 people to love you. And that may seem like a lot, but he says these are super fans. These are true fans. And if they give you $100 a year, if you produce $100 worth of content a year, and then they buy that, that's $100,000 that you are making for you and your family. And so he says it takes to me, it takes the pressure off of sometimes, it can seem a lot, but it takes the pressure off of having to be like a bestseller or sell millions of books. Is that if you can nurture 1,000 people in your life who really just love you and your loyal fans, they're willing to spend $100 on you, then you will be, I mean, I think that most of us says if you make $100,000 a year as an author, then we've made it. And that is essentially why loving people well and nurturing them is worth it. And the other thing, this is a colors from the Bible, this is our mission. And I know that right now I'm kind of working on as well a marketing course with Marilyn and some other people, which is really fun. And we're essentially thinking about that, like, what is the purpose of us being authors? And it's not necessarily about marketing ourselves to these many people, but it's the idea that it's not about you, it's about the message that you carry. And you believe in yourself and you want to share this message with as many people as you can. So I encourage you to don't hide it. Shine your light. What if the person that your message reaches is the person that really needs to hear it? So I think this is why connections are worth it. 10,000 Connections is to really just show our mission, God's love. So for me, I believe if you have, it's not about marketing, it's about mission. And if you have 10,000 people in your life, that will fulfill all the money, all the recognition, all the purpose, all the things that you are put on this planet to be a successful author or even a successful person. We all have our metrons, and this is essentially this goal on how to help us, because this then moves into the next section. Is it even possible? Great. Let's say you do believe me that now I convince you that, okay, you want to have 10,000 people. Now you're like, how do we do this? And this is what the rest of the class is going to be about. And I want interaction on this because we're gonna go through three different tactics or three different parts of this. Sooner or later you'll have to be connection to Kevin Bacon. That's so funny. Yeah, good job, Susan. Well, I have two connections to Kevin Bacon. I know Jesus and Jesus knows Kevin Bacon. So, okay. So layers of connection, gates of connection, and giving gifts. This is how it's possible. So let's go to the first part. This is layers of connect, and we'll go through all this a little bit later too. So I would say the first step is to divide these hypothetical people, and if you want to start writing down right now, I'll have an activity later, but if you start writing down people in your life that support you as an author or that you have in your life, I even start writing down a list right now of people that you think that are in one of these 6 categories. But your inner circle, people who love you, people who support you, your advocates, evangelists, super fans, and true fans. And we'll go into these more of what these are. But the goal is with this is that we divide the people in our lives into 6 categories. And then what we do, and again, I'll go deeper into this, but then we create a gate about how much, who is in what category. And I look at this different layers. People in the first category, they're able to handle you and your mess. Second layer, these are people who are emotionally invested in you. And so they get a closer connection to you because they have an emotional investment. Then there's certain people, this is true even for life. This is kind of where this came from. This is not everyone in your life has connection to you on a deep level. You have your close friends, you have your family, they have a different level of connection to you based on their level of investment in you. So I think the same thing is important for our author tribe. Layer 3 is that they have professional investment, if they're financially or they're giving their time. I think Lisa Turner says something about relations or transactional. Yeah, that's a very good point. Something I would even say is for layer 6. These are transactional. Your 10,000 people are transactional. They can still be personal, but they are, your layer 6 will have less connection to you because they just like your message. They may not love your message. They may not have any investments in you, but you can still offer them something at that layer. I think Lisa Turner, what'd you say here? Yeah, perfect. So I'm just hearting that. So this also comes from, to go a little bit deeper into this comes from this idea of give and get. So this is a sales tactic that I experienced, working in sales. And depending on what layer you put these people in, in the first few layers, you can probably write down certain people, like, okay, I know John's in that layer, I know Jane's in that layer. But towards the end, you may not know all your 10,000 people by name, but we're going to go through a layer of give and gets, of essentially based on what layer they're in, what do they offer you? What are they giving you? Are they giving you reviews? Are they giving you money? Are they giving you emotional support? These are things that if we cultivate them well enough, our tribe is offering us something. They're offering us benefits. They're offering us love, and they're offering us connection.
Or the estimators.
Oh, sorry. If you could maybe just mute yourself there. I think somebody's unmuted there. I think maybe Tina. But they're offering you something. And so what can you offer them back in return? Each layer is offering you something different. So we're going to go into
Only 14 people in here.
let me go ahead and mute that. There you go. So I want to say we're gonna go into the activity now, and we'll go deeper into each one of the 6 layers, and go into all these give and gets, all of this layers of connection, intimacy. But for right now, I want you to take some time, and you might have already been doing this because I told you to, but let's take a few minutes and just brainstorm as many people right now that are in your life that are invested in some capacity in your author journey. Write as many as you can down. These can be friends, it can be family members, it can be critique groups, it can be mentors, it can even be readers, people who are maybe beta readers. So take some time to write some things down, people down. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask it right now while you do that. If we had some music here and play. Give me hold music, Julie. We'll do about 3 more minutes. And if you wanted to, I can go back to this slide back here too. If this helps, write down even if you want to just kind of create layers even right now.
Hey, Jess,
Yeah.
are the layers, layer 1, the center?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, layer 1, these are people who are really able to handle your mess. And it's like they're fully invested in you. They're probably going to be, I mean, there's a handful of people. I'd say 1 to 3 people that are like really able to handle everything you got. And we'll go deeper in each one of these. This is the last part of the class. We'll go deeper into each one of these. But layer 2 are people who are emotionally invested in you in some capacity, whether they're prayer warriors, mom, different people who may not be able to handle your full messiness, but they're still like cheerleaders. They're still emotionally invested. Then you have layer 3, which is kind of your professional investments. These are like your coaches and your beta readers, and some that even editors and different people who are invested in your journey to some extent, but they're not emotionally invested in you. Then you have layer 4, which is kind of like your, and this is something I just came up with, and this, if this doesn't serve you, then you can change it. But this is just, these are my gates of people who are in your life, and we'll go into what you can offer each one of these layers. But in layer 4 is professional promotion. These are like kind of your evangelists. These are people who are promoting your message. They're like launch teams, those kind of people that they love all that you got, but they're willing to actually promote you as well. Layer 5 are your super fans. They love everything you got. They may not want to promote you, but they're going to buy everything, you know. So you may not know layer 5 and 6 yet, but I would imagine layer 1 through 4, you can probably get a good idea of certain people in each one of these layers. Did that help your question, Marilyn? Cool. Yeah, when I learned this concept as like a personal level, it really changed my life. It's like, because I mean, this really applies to life too. There are people who are like, you don't want to give your whole heart to people who just like you. You know, it's like there's levels of gates to not let them fully in. So, and this is how you can maintain sanity, I think, while you're as you grow as an author too, or as a person. But okay, let's go ahead and move on. Any questions so far before we move on? Okay. So this is your inner circle. So these are partners, sometimes professionals too, who you've hired to see the mess. You know, this could be also the thing, like this could be developmental editors or someone. But I would say, out of your list of people, find maybe 1 to 3 people who are in this inner circle. And these are the people who could see the messiest parts of your life. They are fully invested in you. The benefits is they're fully invested in your process. They offer you emotional support. They offer you professional support. And so this one's maybe the easiest one, because for those of you that, you know, have these people in your lives, I know for me, I have probably 2 people. The offer I'm willing to give them is pretty much everything. And so I can, you know, so this is maybe we can quickly go past this one, because I'm going to ask each layer, what are you willing to offer these people at each layer? And we're going to kind of brainstorm I have some ideas, but we're going to brainstorm at each layer what we're willing to offer. But my guess is these people, you're willing to give them the world. It's like, thank you so much for supporting my journey. Thank you for loving me. I'll give you my here's my book, here's a signed copy, here's everything, right? You're just giving them everything, all material for free. You're going to let them in on the process of your journey. But if you have any other things, you know, put in the chat of what you might be, you know, offering these people that are just fully invested. But this one's the easiest. So we're going to move on to the second layer. These are your encouragers. And so I would pick between 3 and 12 people on your list. And this gate is they are emotionally invested in you. They may not be able to handle your full mess, but they're emotionally invested. They're prayer warriors, they're encouragement, intercessors, different things. They're cheerleading you along the way. They're giving you a lot of support in that way. So hopefully we're gonna have an interaction here, but I'm gonna ask, for those people who have earned this layer of connection, again, this is what's important. They've earned this layer of connection. They've invested into you emotionally. So like, what's the most you're willing to offer these people in return for this level of loyalty? Because you want to give them thanks for being emotionally invested in you. So like, what are you willing to offer them? Some things that I came up with, and you can put in the chat, you know, what you're willing to offer these people. I say ongoing updates is like deeper, like not even just like, not just regular newsletter. Yeah, newsletters, that's great. I would even go a step further. It's like deeper. Like I have a newsletter that goes out to just my intercessors and people who are like, hey, here's what I'm struggling with. Thank you for, encouraging me. And so that's something I'm having to do. I'm having to write this every month or every 2 months and dig deep into, my emotions. I'm giving them personal emails, phone calls, um, and just whatever it needs to make them feel like they're on a mission with you. And of course, I'll probably give them free books, yeah, postcards. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna write that down. It's a really good idea. And feel free to put in the chat more things that you're willing to offer. This is what's really great. I'm actually forming this class as we go, and I would love to make a book out of this kind of idea. So these are great. Like, yeah, postcards. Like actually writing down, thank you for supporting me. Is that what you're kind of saying, Marilyn? Yeah, good. Anything else, guys? Like these are more behind the scenes. Yes, exactly, Susan. So tell me more about that, like behind the scenes. Like what would you want to offer them? Again, what are you willing to like think about? They're offering you their emotional support. What are you willing to do for them? Are you able to clarify that, Susan? Oh yeah, more personal emails, yearly. Oh, yeah, okay, that's perfect. Yeah, yearly letter of what's going on in your life. And do these seem doable? Like, I mean, these people who are like loving you, does this seem overwhelming? All the things you said before, right? Overwhelming, crazy, right? Does this seem overwhelming? Because I would say at this level, not yet. Is that a good assessment that right now, yeah, a Facebook private group, that's really good. If they share their birthday with you, drop them a note on a special day. Yeah, this is really good. So these are ways to maintain this level of connection. This is perfect. And this is not, are we overwhelmed yet? No, we're good. This is good. There's only 3 to 12 people so far. Minister them at church, pray. It's good. Okay. Let's move on to the next layer. This is actually great. I love that you're doing this. Talk to them regularly. Yeah, absolutely. I would talk to my prayer people regularly. Yes. Okay. Let's go on to the next layer. And if you want to write these down, these are your advocates. So these are coaches, beta readers, collaborators. So the gate here that they are professionally invested in you. They may not be emotionally invested in you, but they're professionally. They're collaborators on projects. So what they're offering you at this layer, these are people who are offering helping you increase your craft. So obviously with critique groups, maybe even accountability, help with completion. These people may even be offering you money, like offering you financial. So they can be invested in you financially. May not just be buying your book, but like maybe like the Kickstarters, these kind of people, like they're actually wanting to so that's a good thing. Like, so what are some things you could offer these people? I would say one of them would be Kickstarters in some ways. It's like, hey, you get like extra swag, early access recognition. Very good. Because like sometimes people do Kickstarters and like, hey, you get like a special Zoom call if you invest in me. And these are about 12 40 people that are in your life. These are advocates, are getting like who actually want to invest in what you're doing. I would even say for these people, acknowledgments in the back of the book. Thank you for backing this project. Thank you for backing this book. A free book, yeah. I'd even say, yeah, beta. I would even say give them beta copies, advanced review copies too. Like that's a good one. Anything else you guys can think of? Or any questions you have at this layer? Feel free to ask questions. Also, I do want to kind of see if show of hands. Are we overwhelmed yet? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Are you overwhelmed? So thumbs up is that you are not overwhelmed, and thumbs down is that you are overwhelmed. So thumbs up. Good. Oh, you have a side, Jenny. I'd love to hear why you're at the side. So you're overwhelmed already, Marilyn? No. So thumbs up means that you were good. Thumbs up are good. Okay. So thumbs down is like, no, I'm overwhelmed. Like, because like we said at the beginning, like, hey, this is scary, it's overwhelming. Are we overwhelmed at this layer? These people who are actually paying you money to invest in you, can you give them this stuff? Is this overwhelming? I mean, you can say no. You can say you're overwhelmed. But I'm curious, Jenny, do you want to clarify why you're like, maybe, I don't know. You're muted.
Are you talking to Jenny?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you were
Okay.
you had the little like to the side, so I was just wondering what you were saying.
Right. Well,
Which is
I
totally
think
okay.
I think it sounds great, but part of me wants to go and hide and
Yeah,
not interact at all.
I
So
understand.
that
Yeah, so you're just overwhelmed in general. I get that. And yeah, and this stuff may not actually fully work for everybody. But you know, because we're learning how to become missional, become um, you know, getting out there as writers. So I thank you for being honest, Jenny. I mean, I'm sure many people believe that actually. Yeah. To confirm these people are not all financially investing in you. Yeah, these people are not all financially investing. Well, actually, sorry. Yes, at this layer, they are investing in you. Well, yeah, maybe not all financially. They're investing in you in some way. They're either financially investing in you, or they're investing their time, like beta readers or critique groups. They're investing in you in some capacity professionally, like basically making your book a reality. They're helping make your book a reality in a professional way. Okay. So let's move on to the next layer. We're almost done actually. So this is something that is, these are your evangelists. So somebody said that these categories are great. So thank you, Susan. I really do appreciate this. I actually spend a lot of time on these categories. It's like, these are ways to like, what can we offer each layer? And if we get an idea of these layers, it actually could help us maintain these connections without going crazy. So these are, yeah, they're great for understanding how we interact with them. Yeah, thank you, Susan. So these are your evangelists. So I would have over your these, and this is 40 to 100 people, like in the course of your author career. So it's like, don't feel like you have to have 40 right now. This is just imagining what a successful author, quote unquote, successful would look like. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, perfect. So, and if you have 2 right now, that's fine. And so I'm just saying this, so these numbers are at, up to 100 people. So the gate for these kind of people is they're willing to promote you. These are your launch team. These are your endorsements. And this is why I say really connect to Amy's class last month, because she talked about how to get endorsements, how to get influencers. And so I'm not going to go into nuts and bolts fully on this, but I would put all your evangelists in this layer. These are bloggers. These are people who love your book and they're willing to get your book out in public. They're leveraging their platforms for you. This could be even like newsletter swaps. And so this is why I'm going to write that down actually, because I didn't think I wrote that down. Newsletter swaps. One second. I'm actually creating this as we go. They can get behind your message. Yeah, perfect. So they increase your platform. They help you promote your book. And so what could you offer these people? We've mentioned ARCs before, advanced review copy. But yeah, I would offer these people advanced, because if they need to be able to promote you, they need to read your book ahead of time. So you give them your book ahead of time. Shout outs on Facebook if they like if they're promoting you, tell them, say, hey, I was interviewed on so and so podcast. This podcast is amazing. And so would you hypothetically, if you're an author, and regardless of if it's scary to be on a podcast, let's say hypothetically you are on a podcast and you're leveraging their large audience, would you be okay with promoting them? At that point, yeah, I would think so, because that's what you're able to offer them. Marilyn wrote lit tours. Tell me more about that, Marilyn. I'm curious. I don't actually know what lit tours
Like
are.
when you have different authors who go around and promote their book on other authors'
Yeah,
sites.
perfect. Yeah.
And Celebrate Lit is a group that does a bunch of tours. I've not, because I'm not an author, don't use it, but I know that some of our authors, Don Shipman has done that and stuff.
Perfect.
So it's a tool that's out there and available. So something that
You said Celebrate Lit,
Celebrate Lit, I believe it
Perfect.
is.
which
And
is
their
great.
tours.
Their tours. Okay, so this is perfect. This is what we're also. This is why I love this interaction, because these are just categories, but I don't have all the answers of what we could, how you can, like all the tools. So yeah, Celebrate Lit is a good thing at this layer. So let me read what else people say, like recommending your favorite restaurant to somebody. Yeah, you're just recommending your favorite restaurant to somebody. You're like, hey, this person's awesome. I would say also loyalty rewards, like giving them, offering them maybe like discounts on your book or those kind of things. So any other ideas what we could offer your evangelists, your launch team? What would you offer your launch team? Let's say you have 40 people on your launch team and they're all promoting your book. What could be something that you would offer them for promoting your book to their audiences? Yeah, bookmarks, swag. That's really great. So yeah, so the first two layers has really been kind of your emotional people, emotional support people, and these next two layers are kind of like I would call them your team, right? And the last two layers are kind of more your fans, but these are like your teams. So yeah, private Zoom call, that's really good, Susan, because yeah, you want to make these people feel like they're with you, and that's one thing that to realize as an author too is that like people want to join your mission, and so it's like if we only think about it, we are creatives, but like what if you have somebody at home who may not have a creative on their own thing, like they may not be the creative themselves, but they can join your creativity journey, and you're inviting them on this missional journey. So I think to me I'm trying to change the way that marketing looks, that you're actually inviting them into changing the world with you, and you're actually like loving these core people of 40 to 100 people, say thank you for joining my mission and have it be part of their mission too. So mention the main ones or groups they're part of in your acknowledgement. Yeah, acknowledgement in your book. That's really good, Robin. Yeah, acknowledge these people. They are the VIP box seats for general admission. Yeah, really good. Help promoting with, yeah, that's a really good point. You need to give them, so that's one thing that's really good. You make this easy for them. So Marilyn said help in promotion. So you would want to create graphics for them. You'd want to, they want to promote you, and you want to make it easy for them to promote you. So yeah, perfect example. Links, graphics, hashtags. Okay, I think that's about it. Now let's go on to our, if you have any questions, you can, by all means, you can ask it at this point. But let's go on to the super fans. These are the 1,000 people that the person talked about. Forget his name at the top. I feel bad now. John Longhurst, the 1,000 true fans. So these are people who are basically, they love your message. They're like, again, this is ideally 1,000 people. You can have 2 people right now. No, it's not like this is the right now. This is the goal. 1,000 people who love you. They're admirers. They're your groupies. They're like they're who I am for Jim. I mean, heck, 10 years, whatever. I met him 10 years ago. I'm still posting him as my main story. I mean, I'm a super fan for Jim. So I'll buy everything he buys, everything he writes. I'll promote him, and I may not, I love everything he says. So so these people are willing to buy everything. They may not be willing to promote you, but they're willing to, as soon as you write a book, they're buying it. And this may be challenging. This may not be a physical list. You may not know all these people, but think about these people they resonate with you in some ways. They're going to buy everything you make. They're going to offer you reviews. They're going to probably give your book to other people too. So there's a level of promotion there too. They may not actively promote you, but they're probably like, hey, go buy this person's book. So what can we offer these super fans, these loyal people who are giving you, who are buying everything you write? I would say one of the big things is ongoing content. And this is the easy thing, is just keep writing, because it's like, you have to realize that just writing is an incentive because they're wanting to consume what you are writing. So continue to write. I would say also understanding. I would do polls. I would ask, this is where you start getting a newsletter together. You would need, in order to handle 1,000 people, you probably need a newsletter. But I would send out polls to people. Hey, what are you resonating with? What do you like about me? And what do you want me to do? Like you can almost like, maybe part of some ideas that I have is like, I have ideas for 3 more books. Which one do you want me to write next? Maybe you get an idea of which, I mean, I don't know. Like, what if you want to write this one book right now, but all your fans want you to write this other book? You may change directions. I don't know. Deeper interactions, I would say have a super fan group, potentially, that you invite them to interact with them on a deeper level. Some loyalties, some discounts. Yeah, any other ideas for this level of super fans? Again, what are you willing to offer people who love you? You gotta think about it that way. What about marketing? These people love you already. Private Facebook group, yeah. Private Facebook group, that's good. Ask for their ideas for a possible sequel. That's really good. I know several authors who have had no intention of writing a sequel, but their fans asked for it. Yeah, perfect example, Sue. Contests. Yeah. So I hope this is a very simple idea, but I hope this is changing the way you think about marketing. You are offering these super fans, these hypothetical super fans, they love your message. You're offering them stuff. And this is quote unquote marketing. But if you look at it from this point of view that you are offering value to them, then I think it changes everything. First to learn news. Yeah. Julie, yeah, the first to learn news. Internal versus external influencers, those that influence others to purchase, those who influence what you write. Cool. Well, I think we're about almost done. We'll move on to the final thing. And this is your personal connections. This is the big one, 10,000 connections. So these people just like your message. They may not love your message. They may like your first book. So they're pretty much going to be your first connection to you. And this is the crux of this whole class, is what can you offer people who just like you? That's not going to make you go crazy. Like Jim said, he responds to newsletter posts, or if he sends out an email to a newsletter and somebody emails back, hey, he'll respond to them personally. And I will tell you right now that like I love responding to fans. You can send out we have a newsletter list about 6,000 people right now, and we send a newsletter and maybe 2 or 3 respond, but we say thank you for that. One of my jokes is they say like, your book made me cry, and I'm like, well, that's why I do what I do. It's kind of a funny thing. It's like, it touches them, and it makes me, they're offering something of value. Like they love what I write. So at least they like what I write, at least that one book. And so I'm going to respond to them, say thank you for reading this book. So I would say at this level, they're offering you sales. They'll buy a book. They may tell somebody. But what you can offer them is you can offer them a monthly newsletter. I mean, why not write to these people? These are the tribe. This is 10,000 people, or 2 right now. Think about this, or just 1 that you are writing that like you, and that God has given you as influence over. So why not write them a newsletter once in a while? It could be monthly. It could be every 2 months. But something. Give them some level of connection. Maybe a freebie once in a while. The email response, like Jim says. Anything else that you feel like if you had 10,000 people on your newsletter right now, what could you offer these people that wouldn't make you go crazy? Might have covered it all. I might have covered all of it. At least message them once in a while, you know, on a newsletter. That's what I say is that a personal note. Yeah, that sounds great, Marilyn. If it won't make you go crazy, then that's great.
I have an author friend who actually has asked if you want to, she will respond by a text on your phone and actually personally texts you. It's not a bot. It's not some kind of group thing.
Awesome.
And you're surprised, and then just
Yeah.
keeps you connected to her, and you'll just keep reading her books.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it reminds me of something. Maybe maybe a little bit different, but you guys know The Chosen. You can actually sign up to receive text messages from Dallas Jenkins, and he'll do a little like, you know, he'll just do like, hey, I'm doing this right now, and of course, this goes out to a million people. I don't know, but I feel like it feels personal still, and so it's just like I'm on a text thread. That could be a very good thing. Um, Robin, you said opportunities to book signings, reading your work. Yeah. So you guys are thinking about this. And so this is a scaffolding about how to have 10,000 connections. So any questions, I would love to hear also what you got from this. Because I mean, this is my first time teaching this. And so I would love it if you guys tell me just kind of what you got out of this class, or any questions you may have before we end.
So, Jesse,
Yeah.
how do, so I'm still kind of in the beginning phases, but how do
Yeah.
you, because I feel like a lot of my close people are like, yeah, she's gonna write a book, we'll see. Because I've been working on it for a while.
I've been there for sure. Yeah.
But actually my kind of where I'm at is, how do you like take your Facebook and utilize that to get people to your website? And the same with like Instagram or whatever else that you're choosing.
Really
How
good
do
question.
you get that to lead people to your website?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, I mean, if you are posting on your Facebook about like, so whenever I mean, as a few different questions, I'm going to change. I'm going to answer in a little bit different way, but like, this whole point of this is that you're inviting people to get closer, but you're not forcing them to get closer. You're inviting them, right? And so I've actually had people, when they are about to, I would say, because of what you said right there, like we'll see when she writes it. I would generally personally not fully post on social media until I've finished a manuscript. This is just me. That I will my close friends will know that like they like it may be a few years or whatever. I mean, but like once you finish the beginning of a manuscript, be like, hey, I finished my first book, you know, or I'm now it's being edited, and it's almost like a celebration.
Yeah.
And if you want to join my journey, like then go sign up for my newsletter, or like it's like you. But oftentimes people just say like, hey, yay, good job. Um, I would then respond to each one of them and say thank you for, you know, being a part of my, like being enthusiastic. Could I give you updates along the way? And you're inviting them a little bit deeper because they've already kind of like gave you, even if they just thumbs up your post, like you can even say thank you for thumbs up my post. Could I send you, would you be, you know, could I send you updates along the way? Does that help a little bit or no?
Well, so but what if you're blogging and doing some other stuff on your website while you're trying to finish your book? That's why
Yeah.
for me, I've just like my Facebook is Karen Christine Writer. I'm not going to put author on there yet because I haven't finished a book, but I want on my blog to hopefully establish, people that will, they can come on there, read my blog, I can post devotions or my poetry or whatever. And just, so I guess that's my question is, how do
Yeah.
you get people from Facebook or Instagram or whatever? Because I'm hearing you have to be careful. You don't want to put all of your work out there on there. So how do you, again, you don't want to make them, but you want them to be curious enough to go check it out.
Yeah, I know Julie's gonna want to respond to this too, but I'm not I personally am not too concerned with putting too much out there. I look at like blogs and articles as like hors d'oeuvres, and so I would, I would post my Facebook, sorry, post my website first, and then share it to my Facebook, and then they could read like, oh wow, you read about that, cool. May have to go to they may have to go to your website to read it. You give them a little blurb and say, hey, I wrote this article on like joy and how to find joy, and you invite them to go to your website to read it, and then they can sign up for your newsletter there. What would you think, Julie? Is that
Yeah, number one, Jesse and I are cohorts here, as you know, but we don't always agree on everything. So let me give you a little bit of different perspective, and that is that starting to build your fan base before your book is out is actually pretty important. And especially Karen, like you, if
Totally.
you have current content and blog posts, you can develop fans as a writer that will then go on to support you and purchase, your books. And that's how I started as well, was with articles. And so it's actually important to get started now, but there's things to remember. Number one, social media, the sites, their entire goal is to keep people on those sites as long as they possibly can. So that is why if you post links on Facebook in your original post, you're not going to get as much traffic to your website. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but I would recommend that you give the blurb on top and then say link in comments and put the link in the comments instead of as part of the original post, because more people are apt to find it. The second thing I would say is Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same people now, and they will always prioritize advertisers, always. And so consider, if you have a really great post, consider boosting it. Consider having a page and boosting it and paying a few little ad dollars just to see what it brings to your blog and your website. But you are correct as far as you don't want to post every single little thing on there. You don't want to post the entire blog post. You want to take the most interesting piece of the blog post, put that out there and say, read more here, link in comments for that,
Absolutely.
because it's never too early to start building your fan base. We have marketing questions later on. I'll go into that a little bit more.
Yeah, no, actually fully agree with that. I think that just to do a little clarification, I think I responding a little bit to Karen about people about being careful to not like, because there's a pain of like, hey, I'm a writer, but I've not written a book in years, and there's some pain there that it can feel like not posting, hey, I'm writing this book, but of course, I mean, it's up to you what you want to do, but of course, what Julie was saying, I think it's very good to, even before you've quote unquote written your book, write something, write blog posts, write these things to start building your list now. And so I do 100% agree with that for sure.
Well, and I've heard both sides. I was working with a writing coach for a while, and she was adamant that I didn't do anything on social media until I finished my book. My
She
thing
was
is,
a writing coach. She was not a marketing coach.
That's
right.
a good point. Yeah.
And she self-published too, because she probably didn't have enough. I don't really want to self-publish unless I absolutely have to. And my thing is I've been writing since I was in middle school. I have a huge backlog of poetry and, some devotion. The devotions have started more recently, but, so I'm kind of like, well, I can do some of those things and it isn't going to take a ton of my time because I already have them started or, so, okay, that's a good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Great. So yeah, we can move on to the marketing questions for you, Julie, if you want, or asking more questions. How do you feel you want to go on this?
Yeah, sorry, that's my dog coughing in the background. Does anybody have any questions specifically more for Jesse on his teachings before we move forward? Going once, going twice. I thought that was valuable, Jesse. Thank you.
you.
I've never thought of categorizing my people into really categories before, but the more I think about it, the more I do that, the better. I mean, I respond to everybody, of course, but the better I can hone in on a response that's appropriate for that category. So yeah, that was good thoughts. Thank you.
Just don't tell people what category they're in. I'm just kidding.
Oh, right. You're a super fan. You are not. No, yeah. Don't recommend doing that. They don't need to know that. This is an internal process,
It's
right?
internal process,
And
yeah.
internal, no, it's not outward. So, and I think, I wanted to acknowledge too what Jenny said, because, a lot of Writers are introverts, and that's not a bad thing. God made you an introvert and that's okay, right? So you don't go
Absolutely.
excited going to a party and greeting people and telling them all about your book. You'd rather sit home and write, and that's okay. There's a lot of writers like that. It doesn't mean you can't build your tribe. You still need it. Even as an introvert, you might go about it a little bit differently, but you will still
100%.
build your fans. So don't feel bad about being introverted about that. So Robin
100%.
put a note. I want to thank you for the positive outlook of thinking about the many people who support us. I agree. Very positive outlook. So thanks for that, Jesse. So
You're welcome. Thank you,
um,
Kevin.
on that note, Jesse mentioned somebody he is a super fan of, and that is Jim Rubart. And he will actually be our guest to speak next month. And that's going to be on, I forget, the 6th, I believe. Yes, February 6th. He'll be joining us at Member Circle. He loves to teach on audiobooks these days, so that's what he's going to be teaching us, a quick lesson on audiobooks. Sue, did you have something? I saw you raise your hand. You're muted if you do.
Unmute. The information I had is that Jim's gonna be with us Wednesday, February the 7th.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
I mean, you
think
gave
it's the
it to me,
6th.
so
Did I give that to you?
tell me what's right.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Anyway, I will clarify that, or Jesse and I will clarify that, and we will let you know for
Okay.
sure. One of those
And
days.
also to
he'll be joining
clarify
us.
too, that you guys, if you don't know Jim, yes, he's talking about audiobooks, but like he always talks about everything else. And so even if you're not doing an audiobook, still come. You can learn. You're putting these things in your back pocket of like, oh, maybe I could do an audiobook. Even if you're not ready for it, it's still great to hear from him. Asking questions, he'll talk about anything you guys want to talk about. But his passion right now is audiobooks, and so, but yeah, still come even if you're not necessarily there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to learn from those in our midst who are highly skilled, and learn from them, right? We all have things to learn. So don't leave yet. We've got questions coming up, and we also want to do an Amazon gift card. So we did have some questions entered into the question hot seat is what we call it. And we had both Jenny and Shannon ask a question about marketing and about websites. So I thought we would move into that a little bit today. It's been a while since we taught at websites at conferences, but be aware that at both the summer conferences and the one-day conferences, we do have marketing topics. And if you can't make it in person, you can pay for the recordings, and they're only available for a very short window. So like usually 6-week time period. But no, it's worth your time if you even can't make it in person to register for a conference for marketing questions, because marketing is so large and is so involved and does take experimentation, and it depends, what you're writing, your genre and how you're writing it. So as far as the questions, Jenny specifically was, how soon do I get going on a website? And, my novel's almost done. How soon do I start marketing? And Shannon's was similar. And so kind of like I said a few minutes ago, starting as soon as possible is not too early to get started on that. And yes, you need to have a website. It's absolutely essential for more than one reason. Number one, it's essential for visibility. So when people look you up, they can actually find you when they hear of you, even if it's the local chamber of commerce, right? And secondly, it's because you need to start building your newsletters now as soon as possible. Your, stats show us, and this is not, there are things in marketing that have changed over the years. I don't know if you've noticed, but something that has not changed for authors over the years, whether they're Christian or whether they're secular and write for market, is that your newsletter subscribers are the most loyal following that you will have. And they are the ones who will purchase your book. So I made a mistake early in my career, and I'm like, I'm not going to do a newsletter because I'm not great at deadlines and I'm a procrastinator. And I'm just going to do blog posts instead. Well, when it comes to being published, you need to have a newsletter list, and publishers know this, and they will want to know the size of your list. They will want to know that you interact with people and on social media, not just that you have following there, but you have people that actually interact with you and ask questions and want to know more, and that, respond to you as you reply. And so, getting a website up, that second reason, is part of building that newsletter. And of course, once you get it up, you need to commit to communicate a little bit. I think Jesse mentioned this earlier. There's nothing worse than Well, I say this all the time. There's nothing worse than a dead blog, but there's nothing worse than a dead newsletter, where nothing goes out and people are like, oh, what happened to that author I was following? And they may forget your name. You've got to keep in touch. As far as websites themselves, I'll give you a quick rundown of some of the classes I teach a lot at conferences. Question. Yes, Karen. Yep, audiobooks are on the rise. The sales are on the rise for audiobooks, so keep that in mind. Another good reason to come next month to Members Circle. And not just that, but people who are who are getting elderly and have a hard time, reading, or the large print's not quite big enough, and or the people who are so busy that they're in their car all day, right? Or they have a big commute, and that's what they do. They listen to audiobooks, on the way and on the way back in their commute. As far as how often do you need to send a newsletter out? When you are building anything, whether it's a blog or a newsletter, you need more frequently than not. So if you were trying to build your list, I would say a newsletter at least once or twice a month. If you get to a point where you have a solid, healthy list, and I mean 25 or 100 or 3,000 more people on your list, you can probably get away with once a quarter, unless you have news, big news, and not lose subscribers. But the same key, you don't want too frequently. Do not hit your people once a week. They will unsubscribe. Jesse and I had a little conversation before group, and we were talking about how free things cost. Free things cost people's time. So even if it's free to them, you are still competing for their time, right? The time you come to Member Circle is not time that you're spending with your family or doing your homework or writing, right? You're coming to Member Circle instead. And so we're deeply competing for people's time. And your newsletter people are your most loyal subscribers. So yes, get a website up and going. You don't have to do it yourself. In fact, I highly recommend that you do not. Both Jesse and I do sites, and I'm sure there's other people in Cascade that do sites as well. We do disagree a bit on the venues. I mean that kindly, Jesse. But I only do sites in paid WordPress. They
Yeah,
are
me
just the
too.
best. Or do you
Same.
now? Okay.
Yes.
They
No,
are
I've always
just
done it. Yeah.
Okay. They are just the best with updates, with technology, with search engines. They keep up on everything. They're less likely to crash. They're more likely to take responsibility when they crash, because occasionally that happens. I do not ever recommend Wix or Squarespace. What's
The
the other
big
one?
thing,
Weebly.
the big thing
Yeah.
that I've also to that as well is that if you want to be a little bit conspiracy theorist, is that it's that WordPress is the only place that you own your data, right? So like technically, Wix and anybody else could shut you down if they disagree with you.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
WordPress, you own your own domain, you own your own, so you can actually not be shut down. Yeah.
Yes, and there is stories of censoring too. I hate to say this. I used to think, gee, if I believe in censoring, I'm kind of going, but it's happening. It's happening to the Christian pages that I manage on Facebook, including Cascades, at some points in times, and it's happening with those people that, own that content. So we don't recommend Wix or Squarespace or Weebly or the ones that give you an all package deal and design your own site. We don't recommend free WordPress either. They also run ads, and they may run ads on your site that you don't agree with, and you don't have control over that. Paid WordPress designs only, and pay somebody to do it, because really, honestly, it's like it's the first impression, right? They walk into the room, they get a first impression of you. You either shake hands solidly and smile and say, hey, nice to see you, or they get a bad impression, and that's what your website does. Online. So I would recommend that you get started with that, sooner rather than later. If you want to be traditionally published, publishers are going to need to see that you have that dreaded word. I know a lot of us dread, but it's called platform, right? And platform just equals sales, people that will buy from you, your influence over the sphere, so that people want to buy your books. And your website is the start of that. So those are my recommendations for a website. From there, marketing is wide and kind of
will
depends
say,
what you're doing. Go ahead,
can I add
Jess.
to that too? I will say that's
Yep.
why part of the reason why I have the 10,000 on my teaching is because that's the magic number for oftentimes for like publishers need to sell 10,000 copies. If you're gonna go traditional publishing, they need to sell 10,000 copies. And so if you can do like Julie says, if you can do your work ahead of time, building your 10,000 people, again, you don't need 10,000, but like that's just the magic number of like building people now, even before you go. I love, one thing I forget to say is that I love reader magnets. I help people build newsletters too by getting something you offer for free, and then you can offer them something for free and they can then join your newsletter. That's the best way to do it too. So you
Hey,
can
you
start
got ahead of
building that
me.
list. Oh, sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's
Keep
fine.
going.
See, we are on the same page about a lot of
Yeah.
things, but so yeah, you need what we call a reader magnet. And a reader magnet is free. Again, remember you're competing for people's free time. So once you have your newsletter service start up, which both Jesse and I would both highly recommend MailerLite over anything else at this point. In the old days, we used MailChimp. I've used Constant Contact. MailerLite is it costs a lot less. Their support is a lot better. And they're newer, so they're anxious for the business. And so they do these things because they are. And there's people out there that can help you set up even automated messages, as they subscribe to your newsletter, a welcome email, hey, welcome, so they don't forget that they subscribed. You want to start building that once.
MailerLite?
MailerLite,
I'll
yeah.
put it in the
It's
chat right here.
LITE. Okay. Yeah, Jesse can put that in there. So your reader magnet is a freebie. And don't think of it as something not well done. It actually needs to be a piece of your most important work. So let me give you an example. Um, my my fiction series on human trafficking, there's two gals in the first book that don't land so well. And I had readers ask me, what is their story? What's their story? Rose and Penny, what is their story? And they started eating in my head. I was like, what is their story? They have a story. And so my reader magnet, I did a 2-book and 1 mini ebook series, one on Rose and one on Penny, and their lives before the trafficking and how, it led to the trafficking of them. And people are like, oh, it's now a complete thing. So it's special. I know that Dawn Shipman has been working on a prequel of her series. I think that it might be a book, but she worked on a separate story for her that I helped her with a reader's magnet for her actual website. You're giving people a reason to want to join. You join and you receive this for free in MailerLite, or if you choose MailChimp or another service, it's very easy to set up. So once they sign up, they boom, get it. You don't have to, it's all automated. You don't have to do anything. And they get your reader magnet. Now, I've also seen other reader magnets. There's people like, well, Christina Suzanne Nelson, she's amazing at swag. She's amazing at crafty stuff. She makes things with her cricket that I'm just like, she brings to conferences and I'm like, whoa, not only do you have time to do this, but she's super creative and she'll bring swag. She'll bring stickers, like to conferences and things like that she has made. And those can be other reader magnets, although the most popular is electronic. If you're writing nonfiction and not fiction, your reader magnet should be something on your topic, a white paper, a case study, something that your readers, would be interested in. If you have a specialty you are in, like, marketing, or you could relate to books in some way, as far as selling them and as far as getting them out, you might have some expertise in that area. Write an article on something that people haven't seen anywhere else, and that will be a good reader magnet for you. So thank you, Jesse, for that. MailerLite is where you host the email daily. Yes, you'll still need to write your newsletter. Nobody does that for you except AI. We'll be talking about that in a few months because, about that AI stuff. So, and then somebody asked about, well, I guess it was the same one. Jenny, you were asking about ad spending and things, as well. And, if I was coaching you in a marketing activity and marketing a certain book, we would be doing experimentation, is what I call it, because just because you write nonfiction and this person writes fiction doesn't mean they're all going to have the same market between the two. You're going to have different people that like your stuff. I would encourage you to hone your market in and hone it down. So if you write fiction and it's women's fiction, your market should not be all women. Your market should be women ages 25 to 40, who have had trauma in their lives. Okay. As an example, you want to hone in as much as you can, and publishers want to see that as well. And then you can look at ad spending. But what I do is I keep a promo sheet when I run a promo. When I pay a few bucks for an ad or this or that, or a blog tour or tours like Marilyn had mentioned, I keep track of what I spent versus the number of clicks or number of downloads I got to get a per person price. I keep that price I try to keep it under 25 cents. And not all of them work out that well. Sometimes I've paid a little bit more, but that tells me that's not my market, right? And I'm not going to do it again. However, there's some promos I've done within that category that get me great results. I spent $50 and I got, 2,000 downloads of this. Or as an example, that one works well in my genre and so I will do that, do that one again, because it's a matter of kind of experimenting, but you don't want to do any of that advertising and pushing that stuff out there until you have a website, because you need that home for people to go to learn more about you, who want to become a super fan, right? And you want to make it easy for them to find you. And then once we get up a website, then we can talk about things like SEO, search engine optimization, how to get people to your site, how to get your readers. So hopefully that's helpful on the marketing. Shannon or Jenny, did you want to add anything to your questions that we can answer, or did I cover everything? Sue, good tip. Yes, if you write fiction, you can write articles based on your research. So I do. I write articles on abuse and human trafficking as well. And it's my day job too, as many of you know. But things like the history of the town where your book is set, yep, good. And often the bookstores in the town where your book is set will also support you and hold author events. Historical fiction, you can include info about clothing in that area. That's interesting. Or business in that area, or government in that area, all kinds of things. If you need help brainstorming, send us an email. We can be like, yeah, we'd love to help you brainstorm. I know I would. Jesse is good at that as well. Sounds like Sue's done some of that.
How can I reach both you and Jesse?
I went ahead and put my email in the chat, but it's just my name, juliebonblank@gmail.com. And Jesse's is, I can't scroll up,
Yeah,
Jesse,
I
on the
put in the
chat for
chat
some
too.
reason.
So my email is Jesse, V is in Victor, and then my last name Rivas is in the chat as well. I can
Let
put
me
it
guess,
again.
does your middle name start with a V?
It does, yeah. I say V is in
Huh.
victory, yeah.
What do you know? V is in victory. Very nice.
And my
but-
website there's too, abovethesun.org. I'll put that in the email.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And there's another question. And if all else fails, you can always go to the website, Cascade Christian Writers website, fill out the form. It's fine. Contact, our business email gets that, and we forward that out to people who need it. So you can all work very contactable in many ways. Okay, Tina says, I received the proof for my novel today. Next step is one website, 2 newsletter. Other suggestions? What should I do this month? Tina, are you writing fiction or nonfiction? Tell us a little bit about your project. If you have audio, you need to unmute. Fiction, okay, and what age group?
Okay.
There you are. Hello. Nice to
Tina.
see you. Is it adult? Is it young adult? Is it new adult? They have a new adult category now.
Yeah,
Children's,
new young.
It's adult and it's women's fiction.
and it's women's fiction. Okay, is it contemporary? It has some contemporary
Contemporary.
subjects in it. Okay. Okay, so those all count as far as your audience and what you're looking at. So definitely website is key for that. Final question, I hope. Are you self-publishing it, or are you
Yeah.
traditionally publishing it?
And self-publishing it.
Self-publishing it. Okay, so I have a lot of tips for you. You and I could chat, and I could give you a lot of tips going forward. Start with your website, start with a newsletter, find your core group of people that would read your book. I always recommend for fiction authors to connect with a nonprofit. Find a nonprofit, because you have some kind of problem or issue in your book,
Yeah.
right? You have some kind of conflict, chaos in your book. What does that relate to? Does that relate to divorce, abuse? Does that relate to, parents and teenagers having issues and runaways? Does it relate to the homeless population? Does it relate? What in your book can you relate to and help support? And if you attach yourself, become friends with, I call it, a nonprofit, and even tell them you'll give them some of the book proceeds. If they're not governed by law, a lot of the large nonprofits have a lot of corporate type laws, so you've got to be careful. But smaller nonprofits are usually willing to trade services, and that's what I've done with my books, is hooked up with two nonprofits that they help me get the word out to their email list, and they marketing, and we have events together. We do events together all the time. And I give them, I give each of them 5% of my royalties that come in from my book. But there's been incredible opportunities from that. I got to display my books in the library last month for 30 days, along with a bunch of survivor artwork for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, because I was connected in with those nonprofits. And then later I had a craft fair I was doing at a church, and I sold a good number of books, but 3 guys came by and they were like, I recognize your book. Wasn't that at the library? Yeah, it was at the library on display. So in my local town, it did a lot to increase the knowledge. So, that can benefit you in a big way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And there's lots more to do too. It just depends where you want to take it. And you and I could talk offline if you want, as far as that, a path forward for you that's successful. And Jim, I'm writing contemporary adult fiction. I want a Palestinian protagonist. So you need ideas about your character itself, Jim, or you're looking for more marketing? Unmute yourself for me. There you go.
Marketing.
For marketing. Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, that is not my strong point as far as the Palestine part. Would Jesse, you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, that's something we both do is help build mailing lists. And so that'd be the first thing I would think is there anything you can do to, like, is there any prologue or prequel or something that you can write, or even, things like on that same topic to blog about and write newsletters about, and that'd be the first step of that. So do you have anything like that, Jen, that you can kind of start with? Like, because you gotta think about it this way, it's like you're getting, like, the marketing tip right now is everyone thinks that, like, you want to, like, people think you want to do all your work and then go to market. But no, we're saying go to market as quick as possible, meaning, like, get something out. And if you feel confident in yourself, then get something out and to see how people will respond to that, whether it's a blog, whether it's a prequel, something, start building a newsletter, like, now, to see how people respond. That.
Good thought. I would have to say too, real quick, before we move on to a couple other things, is that this, I don't mean to destroy any of your plans in saying this, but know that when you're self-publishing, that having a series is going to spiral you above everybody else who's self-publishing. So the reason for that is because there is a marketing tactic out there that is working and working well. And that is, once you have your series out, you need to push it out really fast. So I even encourage you to have them all written, 2 or 3 written at a time, or you get stuck like me. We're still working on book 3 that was due in the fall. Push them out all at once, and then you make the first one free. And once you make the first one free, or you have it on Kindle Unlimited for free all the time, there is a ton of promos you can do out there to list that book for free. Because if you're a new author, your readers need to get hooked, right? Before they can count, you can count them as a super fan. They need to love your writing. And if you give them their first book with no hesitations, because it doesn't even cost $4.99 or $12.99 or whatever, they're going to buy your second book. And then they're going to buy, the third book. So for those of you who are thinking of self-publishing, try to start thinking, it doesn't mean that all your books have to be a series. Maybe the book you put out next is just a one-off. But as you're thinking of your future writing, think in series versus one for the most success in self-publishing. Just a little, sorry, that was off topic, but totally thought might be a benefit. Yes. Oh dear, Jesse. I did not see that, and I will not read it out loud. Okay, so the recording people will not hear what Jesse's comment was in the
I
chat.
can say it if you want me to. I'm just kidding. They won't hear it.
He said first one free, like any drug dealer tactic, with a big smiley face. Okay, everybody's heard it now. Okay. And then we have Robin relating. I guess it's getting time to wrap this thing up for tonight, is it not? Okay. So I hope that was helpful. Feel free to connect with us if you have more questions. Know that the member page on Facebook is also a very good resource for you. I told somebody else who wasn't able to make it tonight, she had wanted to connect with other memoir writers that are currently writing memoirs. And I'm like, go to the page, say I'm writing a memoir. Who else is doing it? She wanted some connection with those people. That's okay to put on that member Facebook page. Thank you. Yes, I was hearing the ideas from Member Circle. I appreciate it. Book series, and I'll write it down before we lose in book series. And somebody else said the nonprofit connection, I think, for topics. Good idea. Okay, maybe we won't do artificial intelligence next time with me after all. And then April had a character in her first novel that demanded a book of her own and got it. Absolutely. And as we write, that happens, you guys. Do your characters not take on a life of their own? I always tell people, I'm not writing, I'm writing their story, right? They're telling me in my head, this is my story, keep writing it. And that happens with our fictional characters. So they can take a life on their own. So okay, we are wrapping it up here. I want to pull for the Amazon gift card and also close in prayer. Of course, I let you know. Oh, Sue put in the chat that Jim is coming the 6th, right? Tuesday, February 6th at 6 p.m. So hopefully you'll come to that. And like Jesse said, he's worth a wealth of information, even if you're not into audiobooks. I hope that you'll come and want to learn. And let's see, for the Amazon card, I picked the box that it was number 4. And currently in my number 4 box is Jim Corley. Amazon card for you. Are you so excited? Now you can go buy some books. Okay, so Jim, hopefully we have your current email address, because what I'll do is I'll send it directly to that. If not, let us know that you have another email address. But congratulations on that. All right, so I'm glad you came. Thanks guys for coming. We appreciate it. And Donna, are you still here, Miss Donna? There she is. Donna has a beautiful sweater on. Oh, unmute yourself.
Yep.
Donna today is gonna go ahead and close us out in prayer. Thanks, Donna.
Oh, sure. My pleasure. Lord, we humbly come to you and ask your Holy Spirit to invade our lives. Jesse shared a bushel full of ideas, and Sarah prayed at the beginning that we would have 1, 2, or 3 things to take away. I pray that you will bring those key concepts from tonight into our minds, and that we trust you, and that for you to guide and direct us on our writing journey. You are Lord. Let us let you be Lord of our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
And never forget, you guys, when you think of that word platform, I've taught on this before and I will again. It's not really your platform, it's God's platform, right? Whatever message he is giving you, the reason you're working on marketing and growing and building your platform is to get that message out that he has given you to more people. So think of it that way versus self-promotion, because that's what it really is. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We hope to see you next month.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful night. Happy New
Thank you,
Year,
everybody.
everybody.
Yeah,
All
Happy
right.
New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.